What's up? What's up?
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away. We feel betrayed.
It's fucking depressing out here, dude. I don't know what else to say. It's fucking depressing.
Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. Our brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth.
Well, they're coming after Medicaid, which is what they said. Absolutely no way, never will. We'll never touch Medicaid. Now they're going to kick over 8 million people off of it. An estimated 8.6 million or something like that. 8.1. I can't remember. By making it harder to enroll, right? By raising the requirements to enroll, by putting in work requirements, that'll definitely kick some people off, and limiting the amount that they usually help states pay for their Medicaid programs, and then trying to force that back on the states that already can't afford it and saying, oh, you can't afford it, it's not our fault. You know, normal Trump things. All to pay for tax cuts for billionaires. Like, we don't have to give the billionaires these tax cuts. They're set to expire. We could just let them expire. But instead, we're going to kick 8 million people off Medicaid. How insane is that? Just blows my mind, dude.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. So first of all, if you want to support the show, go to coldbeer.fund. You can find all my links there, including Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, Discord, all those links, as well as links to contribute to the show financially if you can. If you want to keep it going, if you want to pay the bills around here, we would greatly appreciate that. Second of all, the House committees are meeting and putting together their budget, right? Remember they did the reconciliation thing, right? Where they put out like a basic thing, like this group has to cut this much from their budget. This group has to cut this much from their budget. And we looked at the, what's it called? It's called something in energy. Hold on. We'll pull it up. They had to cut $880 billion over 10 years. If you look at their budget over 10 years, what you see is if they cut every other program from their budget, like then didn't touch Medicaid and Medicare, they still could not get $880 billion out of the budget. It is the Energy and Commerce Committee. Okay? So when you look at their budget, they were tasked with cutting $880 billion out of their budget over 10 years. If you look at their 10-year budget, if they cut every program underneath them, they could not get to that $880 billion without cutting Medicaid and Medicare. So people are like, it's impossible. No, it's not. No, it's not. Wait till Doge, wait till fraud, waste, and abuse, wait till immigrants, wait till whatever. And now here we are several weeks later when they're trying to make it work. And of course, they're going to cut Medicaid and Medicare. There was no other way to do it, right? There was no other way to do it. If you have $300 in bills, okay, and you have $200 in your bank account, and I say, you're going to spend all your money. You're like, no, I think I can keep some. I'm like, no, you're going to spend all your money to pay your bills. No, I think I can keep some. And I'm like, you don't even have enough to pay the bills you have. You're $100 negative. And you're like, no, I think I can make it work. There's probably some statistical errors in there. This just coming out over the yesterday and today. They submitted this during the middle of the night, of course. House Republican bill would cut Medicaid funding to states providing own health care coverage to people who are undocumented, is the way they want to spin it, right? Oh, well, we're doing this for like illegals and blah, blah, blah. It's almost 8 million people. Like, it's insane. President Donald Trump has repeatedly vowed that he wouldn't allow Medicaid to be cut. The House Republicans' bill to fund his agenda aims to cut hundreds of billions of dollars from the program that provides health care for the poor, the elderly, and the disabled. This isn't like regular fucking people, right? They're literally taking from the worst of us, the least of us, the poorest, the disabled, and the elderly, to give tax cuts to people who already have billions of dollars. For several months, Trump has promised not to touch the program, though on Monday, he urged Republicans to unify around the One Big Beautiful Bill, which plans to slash Medicaid spending by imposing work requirements for recipients, make more frequent eligibility checks, and penalize states like New York and California that offer Medicaid to immigrants. The Congressional Budget Office wrote in a letter to the Energy and Commerce Chairman, Brett Guthrie, that the proposal met its lofty target of $880 billion of savings over the next 10 years. The health portions would save about $715 billion. So not only did they lie when they said we're not touching Medicaid and Medicare, almost all of the $880 billion came from Medicaid and Medicare, according to CBO. However, at least 8.6 million Americans are going to go without health care now. 8.6 million Americans, not counting immigrants or illegal immigrants or whatever you think New York is doing. 8.6 million Americans are going to lose health insurance. In his first ever campaign speech for president in 2015, Trump said he would save Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security without cuts, then tried to dismantle it once he was in office. During his last campaign, Trump primarily promised to save Social Security and Medicare, with Medicaid not specifically mentioned in his platform, though he pledged to protect it once it came up as a target for cuts. While promising not to touch Medicaid, Trump has countered that the administration is looking for fraud and abuse in the benefits program. On Meet the Press on May 4th, Trump said he would veto the bill if it includes cuts to Medicaid, while adding, but they're not cutting it. They're looking at fraud, waste, and abuse, and nobody minds that, he said. If illegal immigrants are in the mix, if people that aren't supposed to be there, people that are non-citizens are in the mix, nobody minds that. Waste, fraud, and abuse. But we're not cutting Medicaid, we're not cutting Medicare, and we're not cutting Social Security. When asked if he could guarantee that Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security would not be touched, while before a cabinet meeting on February 26th, Trump said, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud, he continued. Those other times included during a February 18th interview with Fox News host Sean Hannity, when, while referring to Medicaid and Medicare, Trump said, none of that stuff is going to be touched at all. We're going to love and cherish Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Trump also said in the Oval Office on January 31st, we're not going to do anything with that other than if we can find some abuse or waste, we'll do something. But the people won't be affected. It will only be more effective and better. In March, the White House also maintained in a statement that Trump will not cut Medicaid benefits, referring to remarks. By the way, I understand if someone's like, if they're going after someone that's like grifting the system, like you could work, but you're refusing to just because you're a lazy piece of shit. How many people are there like that? You think 8.6 million people are like that? There's no fucking way, dude. And they've already got the numbers in. It's not like they're checking people and making sure they're not, stealing from the system and then kicking them off. They're saying we're going to kick off $771 billion worth of people because we just assume that's how many people are faking and we're going to kick them off anyways. In Tuesday's markup, House and Energy Ranking members, Rep. Frank Pallone from New Jersey, said Republicans, including Trump, broke their promises to not cut Medicaid under the current GOP proposal. So you can call it a trim, you can call it a cut, call it whatever you want. The bottom line is these people are going to lose their Medicaid. House Republicans are working to advance key components of their bill this week, with Republicans in control. By the way, because this was done under reconciliation, all they need is a simple majority. Yes, there's a program where it affects people that are in like nursing homes. With Republicans in control of both chambers of Congress, they are using a process called reconciliation that only requires a simple majority for the passage of fast-track their legislation. The legislation has already received pushback from Republicans in the Senate who will have to go along with it, including Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, who wrote an opinion piece in the New York Times Monday warning against moves to cut Medicaid. This wing of the party wants Republicans to build our big, beautiful bill around slashing health insurance for working poor. Even Josh Hawley's like, this isn't good. He's a Republican. And he's like, why are we going after Medicaid and Medicare? Because they need their tax breaks. But that argument is both morally wrong and politically suicidal, Hawley wrote. The Federation of American Hospitals, which represents more than 1,000 hospitals and health systems throughout the U.S., criticized the drastic cuts to Medicaid in the bill that it said will slash health coverage for millions, while calling out Trump's promises to protect the benefits. Quote, Congressional Republicans and President Trump rightly pledged to protect Medicaid benefits and coverage. This bill fails that test, the Federation of American Hospitals President and CEO Chip Kahn said in a statement on Monday. It is imperative Republicans go back to the drawing board. Too many lives depend on it. Here is about the bill. House Republicans plow ahead on hundreds of billions of Medicaid cuts despite infighting. House Republicans are plowing ahead Tuesday to advance key components of their bill to fund President Donald Trump's agenda, including taxes and Medicaid cuts, even as they remain at odds over several critical issues. Sources tell LBC News that dueling dramatic hearings are expected to drag deep into the night. This was the night that they came up with it. Into Wednesday, as Democrats try to challenge Republican efforts to write those sections of Trump's big, beautiful bill. Democratic members of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which has jurisdiction over energy and healthcare programs, plan to offer several. It even went after foods. They may even make a food stamps less. Like, what the fuck? Jurisdiction over energy and healthcare programs plans to offer several doomed amendments and might try an unusual move of calling impromptu witnesses to testify about how Medicaid impacts their life. Republicans are likely to block both of these efforts. Dozens of people in wheelchairs chanting "No cuts to Medicaid" tried to block the doors of the energy commerce markup before it began and continued to chant as the meeting began. Capitol Police said it made 25 arrests for illegally demonstrating. It arrested 25 fucking people in wheelchairs. Ranking Democrat Frank Pallone asked police not to arrest some of the protesters who he said might have disabilities. The markup in the House Ways Committee, which has jurisdiction over taxes, is also expected to slide into the night and amid an internal GOP battle over caps to state and local tax deductions. Democrats are expected to trash the bill as a massive break for the wealthiest taxpayers. Like, I made a TikTok about this. I wholeheartedly believe this. If you think it's okay to take Medicaid from the poorest among us, right? To take basic health coverage. It's not even that fucking good. It's basic health coverage from the poorest fucking people to give tax breaks to millionaires. You're just a piece of shit. I don't know what else to say. You're a piece of shit. The tax breaks would just expire. But they want to renew them for the billionaires, right? They got to get their billionaire buddies their tax breaks, and it can't look too bad, so we got to find money somewhere. Where? In providing basic health care coverage to the poorest fucking people in the world, or in the U.S. The legislation introduced by House Republicans late Sunday would slash Medicaid spending significantly by imposing new restrictions on Medicaid beneficiaries, such as work requirements and more frequent eligibility checks. But most controversial changes floated to the program were not included. The bill from the House Energy Commerce Committee comes ahead of what's expected to be a marathon committee hearing Tuesday. Legislation released Sunday did not include specific spending estimates, but claimed it would save roughly $900 billion. It appears to cater more to the moderate wing of the party than the conservatives, who had been agitating for drastic cuts to the program, but it remains to be seen if leaders found the right balance between the two. I'll tell you right now, they didn't. They didn't. It's insane, dude. And then Donald Trump is touting some fucking prescription drug plan bullshit that doesn't even address the biggest issue with pharmaceuticals. Which are the benefit directors, the people who negotiate the plans for the health insurance companies, right? It leaves them completely out of it. Shit's wild, dude. Wild, I tell you. It's just aggravating, dude. Like, pick on anybody else. Pick on anybody else. Don't give tax breaks to the fucking billionaires. There's definitely solutions here. Josh Hawley. House Republicans have proposed legislation $880 billion in cuts, largely to Medicaid, in order to approve a $4.5 trillion in tax breaks. While the budget doesn't explicitly cut Medicaid or Medicare, recent analysis found the financial target would be difficult to achieve without impacting the two government-run health care programs. Nearly 70 million Americans rely on Medicare, and about 80 million are on Medicaid. The budget proposals would reduce the number of people with health care by 8.6 million people, according to a preliminary estimate from the nonpartisan CBO office, the Associated Press reported. House Republicans have instructed the Energy and Commerce Committee to decide which programs and areas would be cut in the new bill, but Medicaid and Medicare are allotted a considerable portion of the committee's funding. It's almost all of their funding. And the committee would have to reduce $880 billion spending over the next decade. Hawley said Republicans are having an identity crisis, and the debate over Medicaid cuts reflect the ongoing problem. This will cause people to die, right? For losing their health. People will die after losing their health care coverage through Medicaid program. They'll just fucking die. I don't know. That's the news. Everything sucks, and people are going to fucking die from losing health care coverage. Shit's depressing to see it over and over and over and over and over and over again. When is this trickle down supposed to work? Do you think any of the billionaires need those tax cuts to live? To survive? To be alive in 4 years? Shit's wild, dude. Let's watch something else. People are so scared. That'd be a good segue into this. People are so scared of losing their job and health care coverage, they're showing up on days where they don't even work. I just saw this video pop up. It's not that interesting, but it's pretty wild that this lady is just refusing to leave Amazon.
The Dayton International Airport Police Department was called to the scene to the Amazon warehouse for reports of a potential trespass.
So it's at the Dayton International Airport warehouse for Amazon.
Pass with an employee. The following show.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it.
Camera footage of what happened during the incident.
Not scheduled.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, I'm just going to shadow you until you figure out where she's at. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
So it's a woman that works there that's not supposed to be there. She doesn't work today. And they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. So they had to call the cops on her.
hey, Alex, what is your location? Copy that. I am heading your way.
How long has she been employed here?
She was a seasonal hire, so I want to say maybe November.
You can cancel checks. I'm good. I'm sorry. How long has she been?
I don't know what's up with this lady. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's on November.
Okay. Is she still seasonal?
Yes, and she's right here.
Walking toward us?
Do I make you ready for your card, please? You said put up your card. What?
So she's working, like she's moving a cart. It's got packages and shipping and stuff on it. She's carrying around the little handheld computer thing. Like she's working. I don't know what the fuck she's doing.
I have to prove that before you hear it. Show the proof. Why would I get escorted out?
Diamond, because we just had this conversation, remember? I asked you to nicely come off the floor and you refused. I said, do I need to call the police? And you said, I'm a grown woman. And you were like, let's talk for a second so we can have an escortation off the premise.
Why would I be escorted out?
Because you were not scheduled and you are refusing to leave.
I have a picture. They don't schedule for that.
Then you did not explain to you that was yesterday's shift.
No.
Please put away your card.
You want to see the proof?
So she was scheduled for yesterday, but not today. And then she still shows up and they're like, hey, you're not on the schedule today. And she just refuses to leave.
No, ma'am.
I'm not leaving on schedule. Like if I wasn't on schedule.
Diamond, I'm not going to continue having this conversation with you. I explained to you in detail. I showed you the schedule. I showed you the proof that you were not here. I understand it's a misunderstanding, but you are being insubordinate and I asked you, have you leave the site?
How am I being insubordinate?
Because I have asked watched you multiple times. You clock out and go home.
I just talked about her proof, and I
I'm not having an argument with you. Officer Sachs is going to help me escort you.
Ma'am, if you can just gather up your stuff and leave.
No, I just need your device and your badge, please.
I think maybe.
Diamond, I don't need to see your proof.
Ma'am,
I'm about to show her. Then I have to go with that. I'm supposed to be
We've gone through this already.
I understand.
Yeah, the fact he watches a movie and is like, let's open up this prison and stick people in it. Like, it's wild, dude.
So is there something we can do for you?
Alex is helping me with the situation. He had the conversation with me, asking her to leave the site.
So she's trying to find the proof that she's supposed to be there today. It's a very weird video. I don't know.
Ma'am, how much longer will it be?
Like, I understand. Like, maybe you're even confused and you thought you were supposed to be there today. But just fucking leave, because you're going to get fired for this.
Are you actually logging into your app, or are you showing us a screenshot? Okay. So can you go ahead and step out off the floor, please? Diamond? Respectfully, I've given you multiple seconds. Can we please step off the floor?
Can we just go to the lunchroom? That's not leaving the building, but it's in the lunchroom. That way we can all hear better, okay? If you can just walk this way, please.
It's a big-ass fan from Big Ass Fan Company. And it ends in her arrest. Like, all this because even if there was confusion, what is going on here?
Okay, ma'am. How much longer is this going to take?
I'm just looking at
And right now, the cop's just asking her to leave. Her boss is just asking her to leave. Everybody's just asking her to leave the building.
So have you found your schedule?
I'm looking for
Okay, ma'am, either you found it or you can't find it.
She doesn't find it. Spoiler alert, she just pretends like she's looking for it the entire time. She never pulls up any proof that she's supposed to be there today.
I'm not leaving because I'm supposed to actually be here today.
Well, I'm giving you an opportunity to show me this. How long is it going to take? Because I cannot wait all day. Ma'am?
I'm just looking.
I'm not going to wait all day, ma'am. What are you looking at?
In my schedule.
And are you supposed to be here today?
Yes.
Where does it say that?
We do have the schedule pulled up where it shows that she's not scheduled.
Can you show me, please? Because she's not cooperating.
I'm sorry, his computer's very tiny.
Here's her actual schedule. So just everyone that's
Like, is she just there to get more hours and thought they wouldn't make her leave? I don't fucking know. It's weird.
I asked earlier, has not trespassing down.
Right. Like, way earlier in the process being like, oh shit, I looked at the schedule wrong. Right? Or even if they fucked her, like, let's say she showed up to work and then they changed the schedule. Why not be like, oh, well, okay, yeah, you're right. And just if you want to keep the job, especially once the police get there, you know, like, you're either going to leave or you're going to go to jail.
I have been authorized to get you on site. I can call and verify. Give me 1 second.
And then you're going to end up getting trespassed. Right. Something like that. Like, I looked at the schedule wrong. I thought it was this day. I'm sorry. You know, I've been losing track of days because I've been working so much or anything. And it's not like she has pull. She's a seasonal employee, right? She hasn't even been brought on full time. So it's not like she can, like, throw some weight around. Like, well, fuck it, you know, nothing.
Ma'am,
Nothing's on her side.
I'm looking right now.
Ma'am, you've told me that several times. I asked if you're making progress.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Yes. She said I have the authorization. You have the authorization to trespass.
Okay, can you say that in a definitive that you want to trespass?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have your attention?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the situation.
It's just so weird. I don't know.
Or they're trespassing you. And if you don't leave
I
them,
don't understand what that means.
it means you have to leave. You do not have a choice. No. If they trespass you, you have to leave. If you do not leave,
I thought that was the
We're at a point now, even if you were on the schedule, even if you said, oh, here's my shift, I was just in the middle of it, I'm scheduled today. Like, now you're getting trespassed.
I'm not on the schedule. I'm actually on
the schedule has nothing to do with it.
Yes, they do.
Ma'am,
What am I trespassing for? I'm not bothering nobody.
they
I'm
have
just doing
told you to leave for the day.
But I'm supposed to be on the schedule. So
That is irrelevant.
My schedule is about to be up.
That is irrelevant.
So I will leave as soon as it's over.
That is irrelevant. You need to leave. If you do not leave, you can be arrested for trespassing.
How can I be arrested for trespassing?
Because I will arrest you.
Just so confusing, dude.
So are you going to leave or not? Ma'am? Yes or no? Are you going to leave voluntarily, or are you going to be arrested for trespassing?
How am I being arrested when I'm on the schedule? That doesn't make
Whether you're on the schedule or not is irrelevant to me.
How am I being trusted? That's not making sense.
Last time I'm asking.
What am I being trusted?
Last time I'm asking, ma'am.
What am I?
Are you going to leave
I'm just
voluntarily or
asking.
not?
I'm asking you, what am I being trusted?
You're under arrest for trespassing.
Sir?
Ma'am?
Get off of me. I'm not doing it.
You are under arrest for
You
trespassing.
are not. No.
Yes.
Why am I trespassing? Because I'm supposed to be on the
They've
property.
said you need to leave.
Sir, I'm walking away. Stop, please don't touch me. What are you doing? I'm not doing anything to you, sir. I'm not. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yes. Put the phone down. Put the phone
No.
down. Then turn over.
For what?
You are under arrest.
I'm on the schedule.
You are under arrest for trespassing
I'm
and
on-
not complying.
So I'm on the schedule. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Oh, you
You're
see?
under arrest for trespassing.
I'm not doing anything, sir. I'm not touching you. I'm not yelling. What are you doing?
You're under arrest for trespassing.
How am I? I'm about to. I'll leave. I'll leave. I'm on the schedule,
late.
sir. You're arrested me for being on the schedule. You like this on.
And she's still telling the manager or whoever that person is, you had me arrested for being on the schedule.
Put your arm behind your back.
You're arrested me for what again?
Trespassing.
Trespassing.
You were asked multiple times to leave.
How you gonna put me in jail for
I get the whole video doesn't make any sense to me.
trespassing? I wouldn't leave. I'm being trespassed for being on the schedule?
Yes.
I'm being trespassed for being on the schedule. That's crazy. What am I doing? I'm on the schedule. I'm on the schedule for today. I'm not being trespassed. You just dropped me to the ground.
I have
I'm
one
not
in
being
custody.
aggressive. I'm not being aggressive.
backup
or I'm not
available?
doing anything. Just say you wanted to take my
One in custody, what was the question?
Just say you wanted
Do you have a
to take my
second
phone.
unit available?
Please bring the second unit because I need to speak to your supervisor.
Is this? Can you please come take it?
Where are we on?
Behind you. Thanks.
What am I being trespassed for again?
They need their little handheld computer scanner thing.
Being on the schedule, right?
Turn into detention.
I'm being trespassed for being on the schedule, right?
5.2K.
It's because it's not. Like, I'm not being.
You realize even if you're on schedule, like they can fire you and trespass you, right?
I'm not bothering you.
Like we're way past the schedule now.
Like I don't.
Can you put somebody at the door for when an officer shows up, they can get let in?
What am I going to jail for again? I'm going to jail for being on the schedule.
No, ma'am.
It's going to be the same amount of time.
You were told that you were not working today and you were to leave. You refused to leave despite multiple requests. A trespass was issued, you ignored it. You were under arrest for violation of trespass.
I agree.
Clear. 10-12.
I'm on the schedule. How am I being trespassed for working? I have a badge.
Oh, sir.
How you going to trespass somebody who has a badge? Can I call my mom?
No.
I cannot call my mom.
No.
And I'm supposed to be here.
You can call her after things have been worked out.
What needs to be worked out? I'm on the schedule. You're putting me out for being on the schedule. How you going to trespass somebody?
Hey, Mitch.
What's going on? This gentleman was asking if you could provide the information as well. Like,
A copy of the personal information she's provided Amazon. And then I'll be needing a statement from you. How late do you work today? For a couple hours?
Till 1:30, yeah. I can go get that from my computer, and then I just hit a report number for my loss prevention team.
Okay.
So let me grab my computer and I'll be right back with the info.
we just refusing to get up? Or what are we?
She's under arrest for trespass. She's not supposed to be here today. She's refusing to leave the floor. Refused to leave.
Perfect.
So at this point, I'm just waiting for backup so I can go through her purse to try and find an ID. Do you have a Miranda card on you?
I do not.
We'll take care of it in the car. Yep.
Dispatch. All units. AWS is completed.
Just do me a favor, roll over towards this knee, lay it on the ground, and I'll help you get up.
Fully clear. Just information. I'll be en route to that. I'm not good. Just get
Sir, can I ask you to hold these items, these personal items? Is that glove hers, or we will need the items?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just hold on.
Fully to dispatch. Just information for the law. One was turned away. One was allowed to be entry. Front door.
Okay, did she have a second one?
People having that search.
Looks like she's wearing it.
Okay.
So she can take it, I guess.
We can get it. There you go. And then if you can hand me her personal items. you stand over here. You're not into the vehicle yet.
Let's take everything out of your pockets here for you. You got anything on you that shouldn't be?
I don't know. It's just the whole video's weird. It just ends like this. She just gets arrested.
I'm gonna buckle you in. I'm gonna start it so she's got to keep going on.
Hey, you got the stuff on your hood.
Got it. Thanks.
That's it.
Appreciate you helping out.
This is from January 23rd of this year. So
I'll meet you back at the office. Everything's in the front seat. We'll go through that stuff too.
Yeah,
and take it all
put it into
down.
evidence and stuff.
If you want, I'll do the transport.
what a strange video, dude. Just leave. Like your boss comes up and says, "Hey, you need to go home for the day." You might argue your case for a few minutes, but for like hours until the police have to show up and arrest you to take you away from work. What the fuck is going on? Then we have this beautiful video. Deputy overdoses in bathroom after smoking seized drugs.
Wake up, bro! There you go. Wake up, bud. There you go. Wake up. Come on, Mark.
So the cop was stealing drugs, smoking those drugs, overdosed.
Come on, wake up, bud. Come on.
On October 24th, 2023, panic ensues at the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department in California when a deputy enters the bathroom to find a colleague unresponsive on the floor. As deputies attempt life-saving measures, the mystery of what caused his collapse unravels, forcing them to draw a horrifying conclusion. The following report is based on official police records. Please note that all persons charged with a crime are presumed innocent unless and
How crazy is that, dude?
until proven guilty in a court of law.
And how often do you think this actually happens? Like, especially when it's like loose and there's not like a firm count or weight or whatever.
After 8 p.m., when an on-duty deputy enters the restroom at the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, finding Deputy Marvin Morales seemingly passed out in the corner of the stall.
He got that fent fold, baby.
Get his back off. Straight his leg. Straight his leg. Yep. Miles. Hey, drag him out. Hey, leave the door open for fire. Put a trash can out there. Wake up, bud. Come on. Pulse. How's it pulse? Still got breathing? Not breathing.
They folded up, man.
That's his car. That's my car. I came to use the restroom. I thought he was in there taking a poop, and as soon as I opened the door, he's leaning against the corner.
Leaning against the corner. Hell, he was in the floor, folded up.
There we go. There we go. Wake up, bud. Come on, Mark. Come on. Wake up, bud. Come on, man. Wake up, Ralph. Wake up. There you go. Hey, I'm gonna start rolling into the recovery roll. Just like mucus from the internet. Keep like this. Breathing. Come on, Mark. Come on, bud. Come on, Mark. Come on, bud. Yeah, start Good. Come on, Mark.
They attempt a sternal rub, a technique used to assess a person's level of consciousness, but Deputy Morales has no visible response.
That's how we wake people up after we choke them out.
Come on, Mark. I'm not sure. Dan, you're done, bud. Yeah. There we go. Come on, Mark. Come on. There we go. Hey, I'm going to the ambulance. Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. Keep breathing. Stay with us. You're good.
Paramedics arrive, and Deputy Morales is transported to a local hospital for further treatment. Meanwhile, deputies on scene learn he collected narcotics during an earlier on-duty call. With concerns he may have experienced an accidental exposure, deputies begin to search his vehicle.
Hey, like said it was in the glove. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I felt those things in it. No, I'm not seeing anything in the box. Didn't feel like there was anything in them. Not that one.
Would probably not be in this.
Actually, shine light over here, sir. No. Something else. It's damp, but they don't feel. I'll feel anything on that one. I don't see any other gloves floating around in there, do you? No. Pull up his last call that he was on and see if he already logged anything in RMS for it. I tried.
Look out. We're just trying to get to the bottom of it. Nothing in his gloves. He didn't accidentally touch anything.
We haven't done that, and if we're not finding it, he could have already possibly booked it.
I was like, he was on a 415 family, and I didn't say anything about dope.
No, he was on he collected dope at like 6:30-ish.
Okay.
The following footage, recorded at a Shell gas station, captures the moment he obtained the narcotics, just hours before he would be found unresponsive on the bathroom floor.
What's up, bro? What's good? You okay?
Yeah.
You having a lot of fun out here, bro?
Yeah. We got new sunglasses.
Hey, we just saw you last week over here.
It's a bold move to confiscate drugs, then go to the police department and smoke them in the bathroom, bro.
Yeah. You was dancing at the same time too, man. Yeah. You promised me your best dance moves. Who? You. Yeah. You promised me your best dance moves.
Yeah, definitely.
What's up? You want to see the way?
I gotta go back to downtown, dance there. They're all waiting for me. Last time I went to the stadium was about to fall down.
You were about to pass out the other night, though, last week. You was on that Fetty.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Is that what that foil is right there in your pocket? Or you can be real with it. Just be real. Just be real.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Could be.
Could be, is it? I think it is.
I'm not sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, not for now.
So you could either hand it over or I could put you in cuffs and take it out your pockets. Up to you. Hello. Hand it over. Can I get it back? Put that straw right there.
Deputy Morales and his
There's another cop there with him. His partner
detain the suspect. After clearing his pockets, he asks for clarification on the contents of the foil packet.
What is this? What exactly is this? Pistol? Pistol?
Deputy Morales can then be seen tucking the foil packet into a black glove.
Uh-oh. Is that how we take in evidence?
Before securing it in the hatch of his cruiser. Afterwards, he writes the suspect a citation for possession of narcotics and lets him go.
See you next week. Hey, I'm here. This is my...
Did he just say, see you next week?
Afterwards, he writes the suspect a citation for possession of narcotics and lets him go.
See you next week.
All right, see you next week.
Hey,
Despite securing the evidence in his cruiser, it's nowhere to be found. However, deputies still searching quickly find something else, which raises even more concerns.
You said foil with
in a glove, right?
How often do we just get rid of dope?
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah, but that might just be an old busted meth pipe because there was no mention of a pipe in the call. Yeah, but there's glass right here.
Ooh. So he had a fucking glass piece with him.
Here, there's foil. Or there's not foil, but there's... Yeah, it might just be an old meth pipe, Sarge. Huh? So that might just be an old pipe. I'll toss it in there, but that's literally just a shattered pipe. Well, I mean, is that what it was? It was foil, right? It said what the guy said was meth, so it was off-white substance and foil. No mention of a pipe, though. No.
One deputy considers an explanation that might explain why the narcotics would no longer be secured in his vehicle.
You think he was going to go and book it, but use the bathroom first?
No, there's no reason to, I mean, he could have, but there's no reason to pocket it because the stuff's all the way in the back of the station. So you have to get back in the car and drive in and grab it. That has to be in the cargo pocket. It has to. But ours pants still to the hospital. He went with his pants to the hospital. I want to see if they can check on that.
Deputies with Morales at the hospital check his pockets, finally locating the evidence.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I think it just you feel flow in there. Yeah, I don't want to fucking open it up, get us all exposed. Yeah, it's great. Happens quick.
However, the question of whether the exposure was accidental reaches a shocking conclusion when deputies locate a small glass pipe and an orange torch lighter in the bathroom.
What? Just a few bad apples, guys.
Where Deputy Morales collapsed.
The pipe that's on the ground was next to us. That's what I'm concerned about. There's a meth pipe sitting over about. I don't remember, but it was in the stall. Okay.
Additionally, hair and blood samples collected at the hospital indicated at least 90 days of narcotics use. Investigators with
God damn!
The Bureau of Internal Affairs discovered that...
That's all they test, usually. When they do a hair follicle test, they only test the most recent 90 days, closest to the scalp. I mean, they can... a lot of people don't know this. Some drugs come out of your hair follicles pretty quick. Other drugs stay around for a while. And those drugs that stay around for a while, like cocaine is one of them, they can technically test as long as your hair's been growing. So if you've been growing your hair out for like 5 years, they tell you we're going to cut it. They mark the end that's closest to the scalp or the skin, and they're only supposed to test like the average growth per month for like 3 months or 6 months, however far they're going back. But they could test that entire strand. So if you've been growing for 3 years or 5 years or whatever, they could test all of it.
On August 9th and 15th, 2023, he cited 2 individuals for misdemeanor possession of paraphernalia. In his reports, he claimed to have disposed of a glass pipe, but later admitted to taking one home and using it multiple times.
What?
Investigators with the Bureau of Internal Affairs ultimately concluded that Deputy Morales intentionally used the narcotics he seized from the suspect on October 24th, 2023. On January 1st, 2024, investigators recommended Morales for termination. However, before formal action was taken, he submitted a formal resignation letter on February 2nd, 2000.
He seems like a good dude. Jesus Christ. And then MAGA, we finally figured out what it takes for them to turn on one of their own. It's usually just Trump calling them out. Trump says, he was a deep state insider, whatever. But you can also get busted, apparently. James O'Keefe, they are now calling out Pam Bondi. And the top comment on this video is wild. The top comment on this video says, At this point, the media could show a video of Bill Clinton holding a 10-year-old girl's severed head while he chuckles and says, things got a little out of hand, and he still wouldn't be arrested. But anyways, Pam Bondi's apparently given out secrets about the Epstein investigation.
Yesterday,
to random people.
Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, was at the White House and disclosed what she represented as brand new information in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. The existence of tens of...
They were literally just waiting for her to come out with this shit.
...thousands of videos featuring little children.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, this is the first time an official has publicly acknowledged that videos of Epstein and his victims exist.
I thought we always knew that Epstein made videos of him and his victims. Wasn't that like in the testimony? He had like hidden cameras and videotaped it, and even people suggesting that there's probably blackmail on those videos as well.
What you may not know is just 9 days prior, the Attorney General had a very similar conversation.
Now listen, she doesn't say this to a trusted confidant, like her husband, or like someone she's known since high school and that working with her at the DOJ. She says this to a random lady she believes to be someone else's nanny.
With a total stranger in a restaurant.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon.
So a random person recognizes her who's posing to be a nanny at this restaurant in public and comes up and says, you know when the Epstein files are supposed to be released? And she gives them this information. Watch this.
Similar conversation with a total stranger in a restaurant.
Do you know when the Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon.
Okay.
So,
any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tons and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
In the past, officials have spoken about...
How crazy is that? A complete stranger. Nine days before she did a press conference and admitted this information.
About the, quote, mountain of evidence in the Epstein case. But they've never, previous to that moment, acknowledged on the existence of videos of, quote, little kids.
By the way, after they received this footage, they reach out to Pam Bondi's office to ask for a comment. Like, why are you telling complete strangers this in the middle of a restaurant, right? And that's what they think prompted her to make this press conference thing.
Just a few days later, at 2 p.m. on May 1st, our report
there it is.
Sent the AG's office that...
It says, hello, Win. Blank here, journalist with O'Keefe Media Group, OMG. We are working on a series of stories regarding the Jeffrey Epstein. We want to inform you that we have Attorney General Pam Bondi on recording stating that the delay of the Epstein files is due to tens of thousands of videos with little kids. As far as we are aware, this information regarding videos of children is not something that has been reported yet publicly. We would love the opportunity to sit down with Attorney General to get further clarification on the comments. I think James O'Keefe has clearly a right-leaning bias, heavy right-leaning bias, but I think he would fuck over any goddamn body he could to get a little bit of attention as well. As far as we're aware, this information regarding videos of children is not something that has been reported yet publicly. We would love an opportunity to sit down with Attorney General to get further clarification on the comments she made to our OMG undercover journalists. If the Attorney General is not willing to go on record with OMG, we are prepared to release our story, but we'll give the Department of Justice a notice before we release the story to the public. Let me know if you have any questions, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.
text of the recording. We asked why this detail had not been disclosed to the public.
By the way, James O'Keefe and the what was it called, the Veritas Project or whatever, they are well known to use snippets and pieces and piece together stuff to make it seem like one way when it's not, and they're well known for that. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt as well.
Public, but was instead being told to a random stranger at a restaurant. The Attorney General used almost the exact same language as she did with the stranger in the restaurant, language that we shared with her press office.
Yeah, I think even some of the influencers admitted this is like bullshit. This is all shit we already had. And then Pambody came out and said, oh, well, the FBI's withholding it from us. We're working on getting it.
Yeah, and it's all with little kids. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, we hesitated to publish this story, but believe, like we did yesterday, that the public has a right to know. And this one raises serious questions. On one hand, why did our country's highest law enforcement official share this information first not with the American people, but with a self-described nanny at brunch? But more importantly, why was this information held back in the first place? Does this show that a government apparatus is still working behind the scenes to protect powerful people involved in the scandal? Based upon the response to our Epstein story yesterday, it's clear that the American people want answers, and they want accountability.
The comments to this. How exactly is this news? This is not classified or previously undisclosed information. We have known the FBI are going over tens of thousands of documents, recordings, audio, etc. You are a fraud. Matt Van Swole, well-known, claims he used to be left. Now he's right. Whatever. Says, the more I know about Pam Bondi, the less I like her. She's on Fox News all the time. She's in front of cameras constantly. You can only do your job so much when you're constantly on TV. Now this, something seems really off here. What's going on with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi? Why is Kash Patel now saying Jeffrey Epstein hung himself when he had evidence proving he was murdered? By the way, that was the thing that was said. Why are there tens of thousands of video evidence but no arrests? Guards falling asleep, over 14 security cameras out, a cover-up. Here's that clip. Let's play this. What the fuck did I just do?
Six months ago, I was sent a message. Somebody came to see me, and among the things that I was told 8 months ago, so that I would understand what we were up against, is I was told a detail of the crime scene. Oh, to the person who just sent me that message, what we were up against, is I was told a detail of the crime scene. Oh, I'm getting a message from someone saying, do not reveal this. Sorry, I actually got a message from, I just got a message flashed up to me from someone saying, do not reveal this. And it's a person who knows.
Okay, I don't want you to reveal anything in a Department of Investigation or harm you. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
No, I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you. It was from the Epstein death scene. It was a detail that was shared with me, just one little detail of the scene that tells you, that was conveyed to me so I would understand what we were up against.
So Kash Patel was running around telling people that Epstein was murdered, right? And the guards were given nitrous oxide to knock him out. And then when he goes in front of the Senate, he's like, no, I believe he hung himself.
And the the detail of the scene, the crime scene, was one that this one detail shows that it was not a suicide. It was in fact a murder. And it's a detail that once you understand it reveals this isn't the Gambino family. This isn't the Genovese family. This had the sophistication. Well, I've got to say it now because otherwise they might kill me. But no, literally there was just someone sending me flash message, do not say this. So this is you know how the guards.
Come on, Patrick.
You know how the guards, we know that the guards, okay, to the person who just sent me that message, send me an explanation. Should I or should I not? If you don't want me to say this, give me 10 words as to why I should not say this. In the meantime, I'm going to give a little bit more color. It was a detail that was meant to communicate to me it was a murder and indicate to me the seriousness of the people behind it. Well, I guess it's too late. It was the Epstein crime scene. And the guards, I was told that the guards, who fell asleep in the...
Right.
Fell asleep, and we all assumed they were bribed. Yeah, we all thought that. Well, guess what? They did fall asleep. Their blood was tested the next morning, and they found traces of nitrous oxide. So what's that tell you, man?
Wow.
Not just laughing gas, but doctors use it. Laughing
Right,
gas.
dentists use it, right.
So that tells us that somebody snuck into a federal facility, a canister of laughing gas. They got access to the ventilation system. They snaked a hose to the right room, turned it on, knocked out the guards. Then they knocked out 14 cameras on that floor. Probably there's a goon cop down, a dirty cop who was in a cell down the block. He was probably the guy who did it. This was not confirmed to me, but he was let in. His door was open. He went and killed Epstein, and then went back to cell. And then they retrieved the hose. Someone retrieved the hose and exfilled, took out the canister of laughing gas. Now that is something. Does that sound like a Gambino hit, or does that sound like maybe a state level actor?
State level for sure. Absolutely. Mossad
For sure. That's Ann Vanderstill over here on the side, by the way. The Epstein murder cover-up. U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr lied and covered up the death of Epstein. President Trump confirms that a case could be made that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered because there was no cameras and everyone was sleeping. He suggests Bill Clinton involved. People are wild. You guys want to see a crazy video. I don't know if this is true. I do know this really happened. This is a real thing. A woman and her husband were kayaking in Florida, okay, in some shallow water. They said an alligator entered the water, and they were kayaking, and they hit the alligator, okay? And it was kind of shallow water. So the alligator thought it was being attacked, and because it couldn't go deeper, it rolls the kayak. The woman falls on the alligator's back and is attacked, and ultimately she was rushed to the hospital. She died. She lost her life, okay? That all happened. I know for sure. But just randomly, check this out. Just scrolling through my phone, right? And I find these videos.
Big.
All right, so it's an older woman with her husband. This is a little excitement today.
He looks fake.
By the way, the alligator they caught after they deployed like wildlife agents or whatever was over like 11 foot long. It was huge, like this alligator. This alligator is very big.
I'm going in the bushes. Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, did you see that? That was a woman recording as this giant alligator in the same area enters the water.
That guy is big. He looks fake. I'm going in the bushes.
And it's entering the water.
Oh my God.
And it's huge. Now, scroll down about 15 videos.
Think about husband and wife.
And what is this?
Were canoeing in a 14-foot canoe in approximately 2.5 feet of water. Their canoe passed over a large alligator. The alligator thrashed and tipped the canoe over, and both individuals ended up in the water. Cynthia Dekema, age...
Like, is this just a complete coincidence?
61 of Davenport, was sitting in the bow of the canoe at the time of the incident. She ended up on top of the alligator in the water and was bitten. Her husband attempted to intervene, but was unsuccessful. She was later spotted by a Polk County Sheriff's Office helicopter and recovered by FWC officers on a vessel. Contracted nuisance alligators responded to the scene last night and recovered an 11-foot, 4-inch alligator matched.
Like, what are the chances I get suggested both those videos within like 10 videos?
The length description of the alligator involved in the incident. Husband.
That guy is big. He looks fake. I'm going in the bushes. Oh my God.
That's pretty crazy, right? At least a little bit crazy. And then RFK is swimming in raw sewage. RFK, ever the voice of reason, posts photos of himself swimming in sewage-contaminated water. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy raised eyebrows after he posted photos of himself swimming in a creek contaminated with sewage and high levels of bacteria on Sunday. Quote, Mother's Day hike in Dumbarton Oaks Park with Amaryllis Bobby, Kick, and Jackson, and a swim with my grandchildren, Bobcat and Cassius, in Rock Creek, wrote Kennedy in a social media post, attached to photos which showed him taking a dunk and even fully submerging himself in the contaminated creek. Social media users were quick to inform Kennedy that swimming in the creek was prohibited due to high levels of bacteria that have been found within the water. Swimming and wading are not allowed due to high bacteria levels. The National Park Service warns visitors to the creek. Rock Creek has high levels of bacteria and other infectious pathogens that make swimming, wading, and other contact with the water a hazard to human and pets' health. Please protect yourself and your pooches by staying on trails and out of the creek. All district waterways are subject to swim ban. This means wading too! ! According to Vanity Fair, a 2021 report found high E. coli values indicating sewage pollution in the water. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, which is overseen by Kennedy's own department, warns on its website that E. coli can make people sick with diarrhea, urinary tract infections, pneumonia, sepsis, and other illnesses, and can be transmitted through contaminated food or water. Like there's a huge warning for this creek, and it's even worse after rains, and apparently it rained the day before there. It's even worse after rains because that's when sewage flows more freely. Like, what the fuck? Can you have worse press? Residential sewage is leaking into this creek, especially during high rain events. And he puts his grandkids, Cougar and Bobcat, or whatever the fuck their names are, into the creek with him. This is a guy in charge of all of our health. He's swimming in shit water. They warn all the park goers. Someone said there's even signs posted there that like contaminated, no wading, no washing, no drinking, no swimming, no nothing. Sometimes I wish that I would just like wake up and be like, that was a weird fucking dream. That was such a weird fucking dream. Infectious pathogens that make swimming, wading, and other contact with the water a hazard to human and pets. Please protect yourself and your pooches. Scrambling in and out of the creek can also erode stream banks, which can negatively impact habitat for the park's aquatic life. On a summer afternoon, the air by the creek can be up to 17 degrees cooler than over Georgia Avenue. Cool off with a hike near the creek and enjoy the sounds of the water burbling by, but don't get in the creek. It's insane. These people... How do these people get in charge?
Folks, welcome back. This is Chris in South Africa for a special interview with someone who is among that first cohort.
With arms wide open, we're taking in the African ears. But almost every other asylum claim, refugee claim, has been all but halted, right? They're so fucking slow. Not if you're from South Africa.
Of people who have been designated to go to America under President Trump's offer of refugee status for South Africans, Afrikaners suffering unjust or racial discrimination. This is Athea van Straten, correct?
Yes, sir.
We've been in touch for some time, and unlike many people involved in this program, she doesn't have a big mouth, and neither do I.
What do you know about?
Yes. So she is here. It's the 10th of May, and she will be in the first cohort of people going to the United States in the refugee program and leaving South Africa on the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. A historic day in many ways.
Yes, and it's terrifying.
It's a bit frightening because you're walking out the door, aren't you?
Walking out the door, don't know where I'm going, don't know what's going to happen. I have absolutely no idea. I'm basically putting my faith and my trust in my life in the hands of
the Americans. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a huge responsibility for us now. You've put your life in our government's hands. And I would like to think that we're going to do right by you. So I hope that's the case. Let me ask you a question. Were you one of the folks that contacted the Amerikaners or the South African Chamber of Commerce or the PRM email?
No, the PRM email.
So that's how you got in touch with the
Yes.
U.S. State Department.
Yes.
And how long after you sent it did they get back with you?
It was approximately.
By the way, I don't think that Trump's assuming when he negotiates this pharmaceutical prices that the reason we pay more is almost entirely due to pharmacy benefit managers. They're incentivized through rebate programs and kickback programs to pay for the highest costing price pharmaceuticals, right? Because you get a bigger rebate, you get bigger kickbacks if they're percentage based. They are negotiating these prices sky high to fuck insurance companies and provide and end users. And he's also assuming that they just won't raise the prices in other countries to fuck more people over. I don't think it's going to do much for pharmacy. I hope it does. I hope it brings them all down. I don't think it's going to, but I hope it does.
Approximately 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Was that nerve-wracking?
It was.
I can imagine.
Because you see everybody, well, we're on like local groups, WhatsApp groups, and you see guys popping up and saying, I've got an interview, I've got an interview, I've got an interview.
And you're not getting one.
You're thinking, what have I done wrong? Did I not say enough? Did I not do enough? And you're tempted to send another email, but don't.
Yeah, and the people ask me that all the time, and I said, look, I don't recommend it, but I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I mean, because I don't think that's going to help you just jam their mail server.
They just not, it just bogs it up, and it's going to take longer to get back.
For everybody else as well.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks, I'm sure it was a bit nerve-wracking. What prompted you to have an interest in this offer from Trump?
It's not safe. I mean, I've survived 4 attacks.
You're a farmer?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of farmer?
We've got a guest farm.
Okay.
And we also have cattle. We've turned into a spontaneous rescue center. So
okay.
We've got some horses and donkeys and goats. And,
so it's a menagerie. But you've had 4 farm attacks.
Yes.
I shuddered to ask this question. Has anyone been killed? Hopefully no one's been killed?
Close.
Close.
Yeah. I got severely injured. Someone else got really badly injured. A big boulder holded their head.
Wow.
So yeah, it was. I mean, my first picture with the United States at the embassy, I was sporting a nice blue swollen eye and a bruised cheek from that morning.
So your most recent farm attack was while you were applying for refugee status?
Yes, sir.
And I don't imagine that, well, you didn't apply, you expressed interest. Let's be clear about that.
No.
So when you expressed interest, so after expressing interest, you had a farm attack.
Yes.
And we were already in touch at that stage.
Yes.
And I didn't realize, I think you told me that, but maybe it didn't sink in because I've got so many things going on, and I apologize if I didn't recall that. So that's just insane. And your farm is in the Free State? Is that where you're at?
Yes, in the Free State.
And things have gotten quite bad. 4 attacks, and that's over what time span?
2 years.
2 years. So, we've talked about being nerve-wracking. And also, I've talked a lot in my program about the tension rising across South Africa for ethnic minorities. But South Africans...
I heard this woman's unsufferable. We're about to find out.
2 years. That's recent. Yes. So you hadn't suffered a farm attack in the previous 20-some years?
No.
Never happened. All right. Now, here's the thing that's probably gut-wrenching. So you're going to the States, and I assume you've sold your farm, and you got a whole bunch of money, and you're going over there with a big bank account.
Nope.
That'd be a false assumption, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
So can you tell the viewers what's happening to your farm?
Well, at this stage, there are some people that is taking care of it. We are trying to sell it. I don't know how long that's going to take, but at this point in time, it's me, myself, and whatever I've got in my banking accounts.
And a couple of suitcases.
And a couple of suitcases. That's it.
Wow, that's courageous.
If it doesn't get sold, it doesn't get sold. That's it. I mean,
you're taking that risk?
I'm taking that risk.
It's that scary.
It's that scary.
I was interviewed by Dutch television a short while ago at our meet and greet at Opie Plus here in Pretoria. Oh, we're in Pretoria. This is embargoed, so nobody will know until after you're in America. Yes, but we're in Pretoria. And the Dutch film crew interviewed me, and they kept asking one of the questions, like, what justifies President Trump granting the status? And my response was the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1980. But their more important question was, why white South Africans? To which I replied, why do you say white? Executive order doesn't say that. It says Afrikaners. My point here is that you're giving it all up because of what's happening.
Yes.
In hopes that you'll be safe on the other side. You're that concerned that your life might be ended, or more horrible things happen to you and you survive.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that's quite a drastic step, and you must be, I don't want to say at wit's end or at the end of your rope, but to give up everything to go. But it may be difficult because you've got something built here. But let's go back in history. You're an Afrikaner. Your people, which included contributions from the Germans and from the Dutch and the French Huguenots, and some Khoisan is mixed in there a little bit for some folks. Your people, minus the Khoisan, they were already here, but the rest came here for another opportunity to start something new at some point in the past, and they were looking for that next thing over the hill. Many of them came with nothing. And you're replicating that history. Is this the Great Trek 2.0?
No.
No? This is your Trek.
Great Trek 3.0.
Okay.
Because my great-great-great-grandparents came in on the ship The Shoulder in 1675.
Very early.
Yes. So my grandpa was great-grandpa, was Galwami.
By the way, we'll talk about the other stuff for the pharmacy stuff in a minute.
And he was married to Jean de la Bette, and they were French Huguenots.
I should have just covered it first.
When the Great Trek started in 1843 or 48, I think.
38 when the round started, but we continued that time.
That was, for our family, it was Great Trek 2.0.
So this
and now
is
3.0.
But this is your track.
Yes.
You're making this journey.
Yeah.
Do you have any apprehensions? Are you concerned about what waits on the other side?
I'm terrified.
You're terrified. I don't mean to laugh at your circumstance, but I empathize. It's not easy. I moved all over the world, but under the aegis of being an Army officer with that support system and and moving from place to place. You don't have that.
No.
You're going to America.
I'm landing on the other side, and I'm waiting for them to say, okay, well, come with me, kind of thing, and just having trust and faith that there's a place for me where I can sleep and eat and find a job quickly so I can become self-sufficient. Because one thing about the Afrikaners is we're very proud and we are tenacious and very independent. We want to take care of ourselves. We don't want to be a burden on anybody. So for us, it's how quickly can I get out there in the job market, start contributing towards the economy so that I'm not taking money from somebody that needs it more than I do. So that's our focus. Just where do I sleep, where it's safe, that I can actually sleep. I haven't slept in, I can't tell you how many years. Because your subconscious is so programmed
you wake up
on every sound that is not supposed to be there. It brings you out of REM. Just to lay down.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, she comes out of REM sleep, guys. She comes out of REM sleep all the time.
It is.
It's exhausting.
I'm sure it is. It's
exhausting.
So I can understand why you want to go. Yeah. Do you feel fortunate in some respects that you sent that message in and you finally got that?
Yes.
Was it a call or an email when it came?
No, it was an email first.
Yes.
And then a call came later.
Was it from America?
No, from the embassy. From the embassy. It was like 6:45 at night. Was a call to say, would I be willing to go soon?
Oh, absolutely. Coming over here in like the 1700s. Like they fucked over so many goddamn people to put her in the position she is now. And now they're crying wolf, right?
Would I be willing to come in the next week on this day for this interview, for medical, for this? So I kind of laid it out. And then I got a call after that again the same night, confirming that. And then the next morning I received an email confirming that. What I do want folks to understand, and I see this absolute panic, and we do that.
And this is why we're talking.
Yes, we run around like ants. Oh, I've got to get my passport. Oh, I've got to get my police clearance. Oh, I've got to get my birth certificate before I send the email. No,
just send the email.
Send the email first, then go and do that stuff, so that when they do call you, that you're there, so that you can get into the line. And no, you don't need a police clearance.
No, that's a South African thing.
Yeah, and
I told you they didn't need
they're
that.
wasting the
time and money.
Yes,
and also tipping people off that might be interested in the program.
I mean, who better than the United?
So stuff like this goes on around the world. But you'll notice a very certain group of people are only concerned when it happens to people who look like them, right? Atrocities, race-based atrocities go on around the world. Silence. Someone looks like me, got in a fucking scuffle in a foreign land. Get them over here. They're victims.
United States do a background check on you. Come on now.
Well, we will do background checks and things that you know about the background, but we're not going to take a certificate from the police in the country. We'll do the checks ourselves.
Because,
Yes, we know that happens. I'm not saying South Africa, but that happens in countries in general. And so we deal with that. So also people ask me a lot of questions. Let me ask you, if I got something wrong from your experience so far, because I'm not in the status, is anything I've ever told you being wrong?
No, you have been absolutely spot on. And what I appreciate about you is your brutal honesty, your no BS. You call us out in our BS. You put us back in our boxes.
Well, that's not my intent. Just don't want people to
No,
bullshit
but we
people.
need it, because sometimes people behave like children.
Well,
and you've got to
some of that.
refocus. Yeah, but you've got to refocus and get on topic. And they tend to go like, and it's frustrating for the others that's actually trying to get answers.
So for you, let me just round up the cost. Let's see. I do medical, that costs R1 million. You pay for your flight, that's R2 million. So this costs you a fortune.
Oh yeah, and then I'm going to stay in a FEMA tent.
Yes. So the cost to you
$0.
$0. You expressed interest,
nothing.
No, except you had to travel to Pretoria.
Well, yes, the traveling cost.
Yes. For now, they just did it in Pretoria.
Yes.
Now, I call this a proof of.
I mean, if we're going to be worried about this, we should be worried about it everywhere, right? When have you ever heard Trump reach out to another nation and be like, oh, what's going on there is bad. We got to get those people safe here if they need to, right? We can get them over on the first flights.
Concept and initial cohort of people going. Does that resonate with you, what is going on?
It does. I think we're
a test case.
Yes, we're the first fur trackers that's heading into the mountains,
okay,
not knowing where we're going, packing up what we can into our little wagons, and we'll just face whatever's coming. And I know we're going to face a storm when we get on the other side.
You are. There's going to be a backlash.
Yes.
There's going to be haters.
Oh, absolutely.
Mostly on this side. There may be a few on that side.
Yeah.
We've already seen it from the media. People like, why white people?
Yes.
Well, not to bring race into the issue, but
by the way, his presidential order says that only people of Dutch and French descent from South Africa will be given refugee status and exempted from the refugee ban. He specifically calls out white South Africans. Weird.
but why not white people? And we've given refuge to people from all over the world for decades. Almost none of them Europeans, except the Ukrainians recently. And so why not? People are people, what they appear to be from the outside.
While they're sitting back home, Afghanistan people who helped us in the war.
No, it doesn't. And what a lot of the propaganda
Afghani people that helped us during the war,
that is fueling this fire, that's spewing all this garbage, does not understand is we might not be an active war zone, but it is war out there.
But from a lot of people's perspective, I would agree with you. But you know, there are people in South Africa, white South Africans, Afrikaners, who think that that's nonsense, that that's rubbish. My argument about those folks is that they live in gated communities, and many of them have the wealth and resources to make sure their kids go to places where they're not dealing with this, and they don't see this daily harassment and attacks.
No, I would love for those that say stuff like that. Go to my farm. Go
Spend a couple nights there.
You know, go live there for 6 months. No, I'm not going to be cruel. Let's do it 3 months, and then come back and then do that again.
Yes. But it's not just farms, though.
No.
It's people in general under pressure. I talked to a lady in Blauberg, as I say, because I'm Mount Afrikaans. So I said Blauberg in the Western Cape after my meet and greet, and she told me a story about how just recently, and that's a very upscale, nice area, where she was in the parking lot, and this is not an attack on black South Africans, so you hate wankers who want to say that, just go away. But it's just the fact that it happened. She walked to the parking lot with her infant, it had like a pick and pay or checkers, and guy came over and said, "Give me your keys." And she was like caught off guard. It wasn't like he was going to hit her or something like that. She's like, "What? Give me your keys." "Why?" "Well, aren't you a refugee? Why don't you fuck off to America and give me your keys?" Okay, that sort of petty harassment, which isn't so petty, especially if you have an infant in your hands, is something that shouldn't happen. And it's been building and manifesting, and it's being stoked by politicians, and it's quite frightening.
It is very scary, especially if you're on the receiving end of it. You know, having the property that you work really hard for, that you pay lots of money for, that you put a lot of sweat into, to have people just come and starting to invade it. And take
he's almost definitely sending those people home to die.
If you come, and I'm not going to go into too many details.
Sure. Yeah, we don't want to go into details.
So it's not yours, but they've been told it's okay. Do it. And it's not right. And there's nothing that we can do about it. Yes.
And that's the thing. You know, for so long, white South Africans in particular have been largely silenced. And those who stand up are attacked by leftist white South Africans in particular in the media, and called all sorts of things. If someone talks about farm attacks, you're called a racist. Well, the farm attacks affect black, colored, and Indian South Africans too.
It does.
It's
Sure. But 85% of farm owners are white. So these farm attacks are basically like armed robberies gone wrong when there's death involved. The white people down in South Africa are 7% of the population, but only represent 2% of the murders. It is not this hunting down white people and killing them as people would have you believe. Now, they are disproportionately represented during farm attacks, but that's because they're 85% of farm owners, right?
Horrible thing in the rural areas. That's why I've talked about rural insecurity for so long.
Well, you know, I've got a over 35-page document with names of the farmers that had been killed since 1994, along with the farms that they were on. So they cannot tell us that it's not real.
It is real. And as I said, it's not just in the farms, but that's getting the attention. But I do challenge people once again. You are a farmer, but as I said, the executive order doesn't say farmers.
No,
it doesn't say whites either.
In fact, there was a couple of people with me that that done the medical that was with me, and it's a long process. So people must be very patient.
And a few jabs, huh?
And dewormed like a puppy.
Dewormed like a puppy. All right, well, I don't even laugh about that, but it's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny. And they're not farmers.
Yeah, well, I know, because I know some business people who were part of that preliminary group, roughly 100, we believe, that came up and were interviewed. People came up from Western Cape, came up from KZN, came from Free State around the country.
For
Elizabeth, people thought it was just here. But so I've described at the very beginning what I believe to be a pilot project, a test case, because we don't do in-country refugee stays very often. And so maybe we're a little rusty and we need a proof of concept. That's what I've been describing, and that would appear to be the case. If they just want to get a sense of a couple people, they could just ask people in Pretoria and come to the embassy. But they didn't do that. They asked people around the country if they want to come. And I know people that pay to fly up here and stay in a hotel and rent a car because it's that important.
Exactly. If it's so important to you, you will make it work. One way or the other, you'll make it work. You'll travel. Just get it done.
So a lot of people don't know. Nobody knows. In fact, just you and I know. No one knows your name. No one knows that we've been in contact. I've protected your identity because I'm concerned about your safety.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate that. And that's trust. And that's trust. We are not in the trust business.
Afrikaners?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very suspicious lot. I'll tell you, you know, Afrikaners are a very suspicious lot. I still get asked, what do you care about South Africa? Why are you interested here? And well, my answer, of course, is the oil over the border, I see. So.
Well, we do hope that you get a very nice one soon, or on one of your trips.
Well, it's a mission failure. My 5th trip over doing this, and I haven't chatted up by Bormaisi once. So. Although I was chatted up by lovely Tani earlier. So.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So I like the moment there. We're getting a little emotional. I was certainly emotional. So I'm sorry, but there's no Steers, there's no Mug and Bean, there's no Eggers, there's no Roman's Pizza.
I don't care.
Don't care. We have things like Wendy's and McDonald's, and
I don't like McDonald's.
Well, I don't blame you. But we have a host of things over there, so it's going to be different. You are a Afrikaner who is largely, if not entirely, of white European descent, and have many things culturally aligned as Christian. I believe you're Christian, I assume, and you speak an Indo-European language with Americans. However, there are cultural differences. Americans don't know what black cookies are.
Well, we're going to have to teach them no onions.
That's right, no onions.
Ah, thank God.
Instead of rod.
We'll have to teach them.
So I'm going to spend a few moments giving her a head start, okay? It's not a robot. It's a traffic signal.
No. No.
Excuse me, I'm all choked up on that one.
No.
Okay. So
it's a dam, not a tank. A tank is a round thing that you put stuff in.
Yeah.
And a dam is what water. It's a body of water. It's a dam.
Okay. So it's a hood, not a bonnet.
No.
A bonnet is what Fort Tracker women wore on their head. That's a bonnet. It's a trunk, not a boot. Of course, you might be mistaken for Canadian if you say a boot.
I think you need to make a document with all of these, because I've been binge watching YouTube trying to get the lingo going so I can blend in, not have to answer all of these questions and stuff. But every now and then the Afrikaner comes out, So,
well, it will.
Yeah.
So I will try to. This chair doesn't like me. I will try to reassure about one thing. There are thousands of Afrikaners in America, spread out all over the country. Many of them immigrated before this refugee thing over the years. Some have been there 10, 20 years. Some going back. Some have just arrived. Plus, we also have a lot of agricultural workers come over the H-2A visas come over. So it's not like there aren't Afrikaners. When I went to Rossi Rasmus's first game as a head coach in our dilapidated third world JFK or RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. against Wales, there are about 25,000 people there. I would have to say that at least 15,000 were Afrikaners live in America.
Really?
Yeah, they came to the game. So you will find Afrikaners. And there are Afrikaner events. There's a couple musical festivals. I think one's in Texas and maybe one's in Carolinas. But there are things out there. You just have to look for it. But okay, so you get over there. You fly over Sunday night and you get there Monday.
Yes.
They're obviously going to take you somewhere, brief you. Have you been told whether there's a press conference? Because I projected that there's likely to be a press conference for the first group.
Yes, we were told that there would be a press conference. Don't know how that's going to work because it's going to be very late. So
yeah, but unlike South African media, American media is awake 24 hours a day.
Okay.
So if they get a whiff from
as to whether or not we agreed with it, we didn't vote for it.
It was just there.
It was just there, and we are just a backlash. And I mean, come on now, it ended 31 years ago. How long are we going to carry on?
Well, more importantly, when will government take responsibility
for
its own actions?
Yeah, no,
that's the sad part.
And I've had a lot of time driving up and down, and I'm thinking to myself, the media is lashing out at us. Yes, but you are the people that's from apartheid. No, I did not vote for it. I did not agree on it. Are you still punishing the slave traders' descendants?
Yeah. Are you punishing the Crusaders' descendants?
Thank you.
Oh God, these are horrible people.
From the monarchy's descendants.
So why are you beating us up? I mean, we get beat up over here, we get beat up over there, and fortunately, as a result of that, we've got thick skins, and we can hold our heads high and be gracious about it, or graceful about it, and just answer with dignity, because that's how we were taught. We were not taught to be vindictive people, which is why we are in this boat, because we don't retaliate. We are peace-loving, defensive people, just wanting to do our own thing, be left alone, so we can work hard, earn our way, and just live in peace. And we're not getting that.
It's not too much to ask for, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
But the good news in all of this is you've won Willy Wonka's golden ticket.
Yes. And
I mean, does it feel like that?
Not yet. I don't think it's actually sunk in yet.
You'll believe it when you land.
Yes.
And you get through immigration. They stamp your passport.
Yes.
Until then, it's not real.
Until then, it's not real. So.
Did you guys? You know what video makes me feel worse than this video? Donald Trump saluting God knows who in Saudi Arabia while they play what is perhaps the worst rendition of the national anthem I've ever heard in my life. This isn't it. There he is, saluting the Arabian generals. Yeah. He's got it. I want to see the one with the national anthem, dude. I know it's on TikTok. I don't even know who he's saluting. Here it is. Look at him. Somebody has dubbed over the national anthem. It was very poorly performed, by the way. Why does he keep saluting foreign generals? So you just heard the national anthem, right? That they dubbed over that video to suck Donald Trump's dick. Now listen. Sound the same? I don't know where it's customary at. It is uncommon and even controversial for a U.S. president to salute foreign military officials. It was a problem the first time he was in office as well. Right. That's how they got the capitulation bullshit out of it. God, that national anthem sounds horrible. That is rough. Donald. Something's wrong with him. Trump's executive order to lower drug prices may not do much of that. The White House executive order to lower drug prices is largely an exercise in applying leverage rather than actual policy making, and it may not amount to much, experts said. President Trump says his directive will dramatically reduce drug prices for the United States consumers and quickly, but there are a few details as how he plans to accomplish that. Instead, Trump appears to be adapting the playbook he's used on universities over Gaza protests, threaten administrative actions that could be financially painful, set a deadline, in this case 30 days, and then just see what happens. It reminds us of how in President Trump's first term, he was all bark, no bite on drug pricing. Chris Meekins, an analyst for Raymond James, wrote in an investor note Monday. We don't completely discount the possibility that the EO could eventually lead to some one-off deals, but the order itself is so vague that it's difficult to predict the exact impact it may have. The order calls for drug makers to voluntarily cut their prices or face the threat of a most favored nation pricing regime that would peg the cost of their medications to what's paid in other wealthy nations where they often sell for less. The timeline for the administration to actually secure low drug prices is slippery. Trump posted on social media Sunday that American consumers would almost immediately see their drug prices fall by 30 to 80%. In reality, it would take much longer than that. The executive order gives the administration officials, his own officials, 30 days to come up with a new target drug prices and to communicate them to companies. If the companies don't agree to lower prices voluntarily, Health and Human Services will kick off a rulemaking process and other enforcement actions with no timeline, no nothing, all of which take considerable amounts of time. That includes actions such as certifying drug importations from other developed nations. So he's basically saying you're going to price this to with 30 days, we're going to give you a price. If you don't like the price, we may be mean to you. And also, we may just import drugs from a country that you're selling drugs cheap to. Like, so one of the drugs is like that weight loss drug, the weight loss injection, where it's like $900 for a month's worth here. It's like $90 in Germany. So we're going to buy them from Germany and import them here for the cheaper prices. It also claims it may do increased antitrust enforcement and the potential modification or loss of drug approvals. So they may not approve drugs that are set to be approved if they don't get the price they want from those companies. The order almost certainly is going to be challenged in court, just like similar most favored nation policy for Medicare was during Trump's first term. Why do Scandinavian countries get extremely low drug prices? It's almost like they have one universal healthcare system that negotiates instead of every insurance company and every pharmacy and every pharmaceutical company negotiating their own special price with a middleman, a pharmaceutical benefits director, negotiating the price. They negotiate as a fucking country, and the price is set. If people thought Harvard was well capitalized enough to fight back against Trump's lawsuits, wait until they see the drug industry's lawyers. Trump's 2020 attempt to tie Medicare Part B drugs to the lowest price paid by other OECD countries was blocked by federal judges after the drug industry sued them. This time, the administration may be hampered by last year's Supreme Court decision that struck down the so-called Chevron deference and could limit executive branch agencies' ability to compel drug makers to cut prices without action from Congress. Trump said during a press conference Monday that he spoke to the Republican leaders of the Senate and the House of Representatives about passing legislation to lower drug prices, but the government price negotiation has historically been very unpopular with Republican lawmakers. Uh-oh, that don't sound good. And then we have this. We're going to find that. Okay, here we go.
Against low drug prices.
You recognize this voice?
We're now fighting against low drug prices for Americans.
Donald Trump has just announced that he will be signing an executive order tomorrow that could upend the pharmaceutical industry in the United States as we know it.
Yeah, he's instituting the preferred nation policy, which simply says that you can't charge Americans more money for American pharmaceuticals than any other country. It really is that simple. Because the pharmaceutical companies right now make their drugs in America. They use subsidies from the American people. And then after they make the drugs, they sell it overseas for pennies on the dollar, but sell it to Americans for massive profits. And this policy simply says that whatever your lowest global price is for whatever medicine you made, that is the only price you get to sell it for in the United States. That's reasonable. We are helping pay for the development of these medicines, the development of these drugs. Yet we are being charged sometimes 170, sometimes 1,000 times what they're paying for it in other countries. And all Donald Trump is saying, if you're going to produce your drugs here, if you're going to get subsidies from the government, you do not get to rip off Americans. And liberals are fighting against that. This is further proof that no matter what Trump does, no matter how much it benefits Americans, no matter how many Americans it benefits, they are going to be against.
Okay, that's his take. Let's see what he thought about this before. This you? Price controls? Seriously? That's not socialist at all. When it says breaking news, Kamala Harris will propose the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging in the food and grocery industries. Socialist much? Wait, what are you advocating for? Capitalism?
Against low drug prices for Americans.
Donald Trump has just announced that he will be signing an executive order tomorrow that could upend the pharmaceutical industry in the United States as we know it.
Yeah, he's instituting the preferred nation policy, which simply says that you can't charge Americans more money for American pharmaceuticals than any other country. It really is that simple. Because the pharmaceutical companies right now make their drugs in America. They use subsidies from the American people. And then after they make the drugs, they sell it overseas for pennies on the dollar, but sell it to Americans for massive profits.
That's capitalism, baby. Right? You're talking about price controls. Clearly, they've got people paying it. Insurance companies, pharmacy. They got people paying it, right? The free market will fix it. Just wait. Just wait. I mean, how much damage could it do if you just have to wait? Everybody get together and nobody buy your cancer medication for the next 6 months. That'll teach them. I believe in us. Fucking idiot.
We dispense the quorum call and I be recognized.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Chris Murphy's back.
President, usually public corruption happens in secret. The politicians that do it, they know it's wrong to accept money in exchange for favorable government treatment, and so they hide it until they're found out. A textbook example would be Louisiana Governor Edwin Edwards, who in the 1990s was quietly taking bribes from businessmen who wanted to get licenses for riverboat casinos. In the late 1990s, Edwards was convicted of the crimes of extortion, racketeering.
I can't believe, I'm still amazed. Who would be so stupid to argue that limiting price gouging by companies is socialism? Clearly, there's something in the system that has allowed the free market to not regulate, right? It's something people need so bad, or in such a way, or there's a monopoly, or there's no other way to get this item, that they've been allowed to charge whatever the fuck they want while setting record profits. Who would argue that that's fucking socialism?
Money laundering, the way in which he was doing it was like out of a movie. In one instance, a businessman handed the governor a suitcase full of $100 bills totaling $400,000, all in order to get a 6-0 commission ruling in favor of this casino. Eventually, as with most all corrupt officials who are taking money privately, Edwards was discovered, he was disgraced, and he went to jail. As we speak, our president, Donald Trump, is going to the Middle East on a public corruption tour. He's no less corrupt than Edwin Edwards of Louisiana. In fact, he's way more corrupt. Edwin Edwards took $400,000. Well, in the Middle East, Donald Trump will cement deals totaling in the billions in exchange for favorable treatment by the U.S. federal government for these Gulf countries. The key difference is that Donald Trump isn't hiding it like other corrupt officials are. He's not ashamed. He's not doing it in secret. His corruption is wildly public. And his hope is that by doing it publicly, he can con the American people into thinking that it's not corruption because he's not hiding it. But what he's doing in reality is no different than any other corrupt public official who does it in private, other than the fact that Trump's corruption, his foreign policy corruption, is just so much bigger in scope and the impact that it has on the American people than anything a corrupt mayor or a corrupt governor may have done. Trump's first major foreign trip, and he just landed, is to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE. Not because these are our most important allies in the world, not because these are the most important countries in the world, not because he's going there to talk about making the Middle East more safe and more secure. No, his first
because they have the most money in the world
trip is to these three countries because these are the three countries that have agreed to pay Donald Trump money. Donald Trump is going to collect tribute, and it's all just out in the open. Frankly, it's pretty easy to see this coming. Recent former presidents, Republicans and Democrats, have always very seriously and studiously avoided even the appearance of a conflict of interest. President Bush placed his assets into a qualified blind trust where investment decisions were made without his knowledge or input. Both Biden and Obama divested all of their assets except for cash and mutual funds. They didn't enter into any new business ventures while in the White House. In contrast, Trump has refused to abide by these standard ethics rules. His family runs his business, but nobody honestly believes that the kids are really in charge. President Trump is still calling the shots. His interests are not in a blind trust. He's made no pledge that he won't do new deals, even with foreign entities while he's in office. In fact, he is doing deals seemingly every single week. He's open for business, and every foreign government knows it. In fact, it appears that right now the Gulf states are trying to outdo each other to up the price of buying an American president. And because Trump is greedy and he's insecure, he wants to fit in with the billionaire class, he is traveling to the region with his hat out for further solicitations. So let's ask, what is the going rate right now for a Gulf country to buy access to Donald Trump, to get favorable treatment from the federal government? For Qatar, we recently found out it's a $400 million luxury plane. This plane has been opulently configured for royal use. It's not a gift to the U.S. government. It's a personal gift to the president. The terms of the arrangement apparently include a stipulation that after Trump leaves office, it will be transferred to Trump, to his presidential library, which means Trump gets the so-called floating palace for himself. This is outrageous. We've never seen anything like this before in American history. A foreign government gifting a $400 million luxury plane to the president of the United States. This is spelled out as blatantly unconstitutional by our founding fathers. They wrote into the Constitution a specific clause called the Emoluments Clause, which prohibits federal office holders from accepting gifts from any king, prince, or foreign state without the consent of Congress. Like, how much clearer could it be? It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. The founding fathers knew it was an evil to have members of Congress or the President of the United States accepting expensive gifts from a foreign nation who in exchange want favors from the U.S. government. Donald Trump's acceptance of the luxury plane from a foreign monarch is basically...
Donald Trump in 2016 called them a terrorist supporter. Now he's ready to accept their jet.
The corruption that our founding fathers were seeking to prevent. But that's not all he's getting from Qatar. The Trump Organization recently signed a $5.5 billion golf course and real estate deal with Dar Global and Qatari Dar, a firm established by Qatar's sovereign wealth fund. $5.5 billion while Trump's in office. It would have been unthinkable for any previous president to enter into a $5.5 billion business deal with anybody, never mind a foreign government, while they are in office, and it still should be unthinkable. Now, Qatar is a U.S. ally. It's a very important ally, but they're a complicated country. They have their own interests, some of which do not overlap with ours. A foreign government like Qatar should not have a $5 billion chit hanging over the head of a sitting U.S. president, and they should not be gifting him a $400 million plane. That should kind of go without saying. For Saudi Arabia, the price is also in the billions. Soon after leaving the White House, in Trump's first term, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, created a private equity firm and got a $2 billion investment from Saudi Arabia. The board of the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund questioned whether this was smart to invest that much money in a totally unproven fund, but the Saudi Crown Prince himself overruled the board, undoubtedly seeing the political advantage of investing directly with the Trump family. But this was only the beginning. The Trump family has put things into overdrive during the second term. Within his first 3 weeks of office, Trump convened a meeting at the White House with the head of the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, not to discuss matters of state, but to negotiate a deal between the PGA and the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Tour. You want to know why? To try to bring PGA tournaments back to Trump golf courses. Convene a meeting in the White House with the Saudis in order to enrich himself. In addition to the $5 billion Qatari real estate deal, the Trump Organization is also partnering with a Saudi firm on a $1 billion Trump-branded hotel and tower in Dubai. The property's website, this is unbelievable. The property's website, this is a Trump-financed property along with a Saudi investment fund, offers free 10-year golden visas to the United States, hinting at the opportunity for investors in Trump's property to buy residency in the United States and a pathway to citizenship. For the UAE, the price is somewhere north of $2 billion. Last week, Eric Trump and World Liberty Financial co-founder Zach Witkoff spoke at a conference in Dubai on crypto called Token 2049. As an aside here, it's just so fantastic and bone-chilling how transparent these guys are in their use of public positions to enrich themselves. I'm going to tell the story of Trump's stablecoin and the corruption with the Emiratis, but let's just pause for a second and consider the fact that the Trump family...
We had an MWR stay. If you were lucky enough while you were over in Iraq or Afghanistan, you could get picked for an MWR stay at Qatar. They have a really nice, relaxation fucking area of their base.
...could have partnered with anybody in the world on their new crypto venture.
You get 2 beers a day, hang out by the fucking pool and shit for a week.
World Liberty Financial. But of all the people in the world to partner with on this new crypto venture, they chose the son of Trump's Middle East envoy. Trump's Middle East envoy, the guy who's making all the decisions on U.S. policy in the Middle East, just to make it crystal clear to the Gulf countries that when they deal with World Liberty Financial, Trump's crypto venture, that they are dealing directly with the people responsible for making U.S. policy in the Middle East. It's just stunning. Literally, the sons of the president and the sons of the Middle East envoy running a crypto venture and then going directly into the Middle East in order to find their first investment. And guess what? Miracle, they found it. MGX, an investment firm backed by the Emirati government at this conference, announced that they had looked at all the crypto companies in the world that they could partner with to invest $2 billion in the crypto exchange Binance, and they selected, wait for it, drum roll, the company run by the sons of the President of the United States and the U.S. Middle East envoy.
Of course.
$2 billion. Now, World Liberty's role in this transaction is not that complicated. It's kind of similar to a bank. MGX, this Emirati firm, deposits $2 billion with the firm and in return receives the stablecoin to be used on these crypto exchanges. The firm holds on to these dollars, invests them, and keeps the profits for themselves. So the Trump-Witkoff company just gets basically a gift of capital. And if they just use that $2 billion to invest in treasury bonds, it would profit around $85 million a year from these investments alone. And the money goes directly to Trump, just directly to Trump. It's literally not complicated. Emiratis, World Liberty Financial, Donald Trump. This isn't 1990s Louisiana. Nobody's hiding it. On World Liberty's website, they say an entity affiliated with Donald J. Trump owns 60% of the equity in the company. And because of this deal, Trump and Witkoff can further capitalize because Trump's stablecoin just became the fifth most valuable stablecoin in the world because of the Emirati investment. And if the plane and the real estate deals and the private equity fund investment and the stablecoin weren't enough for you, Trump has found one last way for Gulf money to flow seamlessly into his pocket. It's called the Trump meme coin. What's the business? Trump gets a huge payment whenever he releases a batch of these meme coins, which, by the way, have no underlying value other than just the demand that people have for Trump's coin. And then each time a Trump coin is bought or sold, a small fee is routed directly to the company owned by Trump. According to one analysis, nearly $325 million in fees have been accrued since the coin was launched in January. Just 3 months, 4 months, 4.5 months, $325 million worth of fees. Trump hides the buyers of the coin. In this way, the meme coin is kind of a little bit like Louisiana corruption. But we know that the majority of the buyers aren't Americans who want to help Trump make this nation great again. The majority of the buyers of Trump coin are super rich foreigners, princes, oligarchs, authoritarians, who are buying the coin in order to get in good with Trump or to get something in exchange. Now, one great thing about buying the coin is that you get access to Trump in the White House. And again, they're not hiding this. 2 weeks ago, Trump announced that he would host a private dinner at the White House with seats reserved exclusively for the top 220 Trump coin holders. In 2 days since the announcement, Trump's company made $900,000 in fees because everybody, mostly foreigners, many of them probably in the Gulf, were buying up the coin as quickly as they could in order to get one of these seats. If a mayor of a small town was selling meetings at City Hall for $1,000, he would be run out of town on a rail. But that's exactly what Donald Trump is doing in the Middle East and all over the world. As foreign buyers line up to buy the meme coin, guaranteed private...
I think he realized how much money he missed out on his first time. He knows he can give himself, pardon himself for anything he's going to do. He's got the Supreme Court ruling that official duties or whatever, official acts, that now he's going to do everything he can to make as much money as fucking possible before he's out again and someone changes the law.
Access to Donald Trump at the White House. You cannot make this up. Now, the obvious question for the average American is, okay, what does this mean for me? Like somebody living in New Britain, Connecticut, you might think it's kind of gross that Trump is lining his pockets as president, but they want to know, how does this actually affect me? Well, the most simple way to think about this is that if the guy that you elected to protect us and make our lives better is spending most of his time alternating between playing golf and cutting deals for himself, he's not protecting you. He's not spending any time trying to lower costs or defeat our enemies. Corruption, it can be a full-time job for Donald Trump. And that's a pretty lousy deal for the American people. But more importantly, when our foreign policy is for sale, we are less safe. Let me give you an example relative to the trip that Donald Trump is on right now. These countries aren't padding Donald Trump's pockets because they like him. They are paying him in order to get things from the federal government, from the U.S. government, without having to make any actual policy concessions that would benefit the U.S. people. Before anybody could begin to process the brazen corruption of the UAE Trump-Witkoff crypto deal, reports very quickly emerged that the Trump administration was considering changing regulations to make it easier for the country of UAE to purchase highly advanced semiconductors from U.S. manufacturers.
Of course.
This is a huge priority of the Emiratis. But the restrictions...
Trump Tower in Syria, and he just released all the sanctions on Syria?
...are on the UAE for a reason. The UAE has a very troubling and very close security relationship with China. And so the reason why we didn't allow U.S. companies to sell semiconductors directly to the UAE is because we believe that it would very easily become a conduit to China getting their hand on these advanced semiconductors and being able to leapfrog the United States in the business of advanced AI. But all of a sudden, once the cash payment to Trump through the crypto venture was announced...
Trump Tower in Damascus, right? And then not a few days after that, or a few hours after that, he announces he's going to release all the sanctions against Syria. So they have a chance at greatness, he says.
Once Trump signaled that he was willing to
openly corrupt, dude,
throw our security concerns out the window and transfer the sensitive technology to the UAE, even though it's likely that China will get their hands on this technology, allowing China to put themselves in a position to leapfrog us in the race for advanced AI. That would be a disaster for the American people, but that's what's happening. We might hand AI leadership to China because that's the price of Trump getting paid. And as long as he gets paid, he doesn't seem to care about the impact on regular Americans. The White House is open for business, and the Trump family is proudly advertising to the world where to send the check. They aren't trying to hide it. A $400 million luxury plane gifted to the President of the United States right as he is going over to negotiate potentially sensitive security arrangements with the Gulf countries. Every American, every Republican, every supposed national security advocate in the Senate should be outraged by this. We could look the other way, or we could join together, Republicans and Democrats, to stand up for this country and do something about it. I've joined with Senators Schatz and Coons and Booker to introduce a resolution condemning the acceptance of the plane It's a blatant violation of the Emoluments Clause. We could stand together as a Senate to vote for that resolution. I've introduced legislation to make it illegal for presidents or members of Congress and their family members to profit off of crypto coins while they hold federal office. We could join together in that effort. I will personally seek to block any arms sale that is announced as part of this trip with a country that is personally investing in Donald Trump and his family. I will force a full Senate debate and a vote on these sales. Foreign leaders need to know that there will be a price for participating in the corruption of the American presidency. This level of corruption is so gross that even Trump's most hardened MAGA sycophants are turning against him. I didn't think I'd see the day, but people like Ben Shapiro and Laura Loomer, who fawn over Trump, can't believe he is so crass as to think that it's okay to accept planes as a gift in exchange for U.S. national security concessions. This isn't America first. This is not what he promised the American people. This is Trump first. He is willing to put our nation's security at risk, take unconstitutional bribes, just so he can fly himself and his Mar-a-Lago golf buddies around the world in gold-plated luxury planes gifted to him by foreign governments, all while at the same time he tells Americans that they should be okay buying fewer school supplies for their kids or fewer birthday presents for their grandchildren because he's driving prices up for non-billionaires in this country. All while at the same time, he's kicking 13 million people off of their health care. Trump lines his pockets. He corrupts our foreign policy to enrich himself while driving up prices and stealing health care from average Americans. It's a national security disaster, and it's a moral abomination. I yield the floor.
It's disgusting, is what it is. It's even worse. Like we're like legit struggling right now, right? And Donald Trump's supposed to be looking out for, according to all his supporters, he's going to fix this. He's looking out for all of us. Me and Mariah are like legit struggling, and Donald Trump is making billion-dollar deals around the world. I don't know. It's fucked up. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I'll see everybody tomorrow. You guys have a good night. Support the show if you want to, and we'll see you on the next one. Fucking piece of shit.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Opened his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. What are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me oh my God. Damn it.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets, you know that stage is set. You better